Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to everyone who joined us today for the seventh episode of our ongoing series, where we talk to some amazing and inspiring young entrepreneurs, innovators, and leaders from across the MENA region. I'm Umaima, the founder of Youth Wave MENA, a social startup based in the Kingdom of Bahrain with a goal to involve our youth from all across the MENA region in solutions for smart, sustainable development. Today, we are joined by the fantastic Nouf Mohammed Alfadhli from the UAE. So, Nouf, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for the great introduction. I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. And I hope this interview goes really well. And I'm so excited to talk to you.
Me too. I'm really excited to be in this platform and to share my thoughts and ideas.
Great. So before we get started with the questions, I just wanted to introduce you. So you're actually a chemical engineering and nuclear student at the prestigious Khalifa University, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. And you're also an innovator, an inventor, and a finalist and ambassador of the Tatawwar program, the 2019-2020 edition.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you like to add anything to your introduction?
Well, you did very well into introducing me. I would just like to add that my passion towards nuclear energy and obtaining peace in terms of pursuing nuclear energy as a clean energy has driven me into new horizons that I never thought I would pursue. Therefore, as you all can see, most of my inventions and my career path has been led by nuclear science. So this is my main motive into, pursuing and getting out of the ordinary.
See, and we're going to have questions come in later about that, and I'm really excited to hear you talk about it even more. But the first question I'd like to ask you is really, would you like to talk about how it's been for you, the last few years? You've accomplished so many wonderful things. Like right now, you mentioned a few of them, and you even got a scholarship at Stanford for a pre-college program, I believe, and you invented something really cool that I'd love for you to talk about if you could.
Yeah, sure. So in the past 4 years, especially in my high school year, my high school 4 years, I was really into discovering myself more as a person, and that actually led me into stepping into the different STEM programs, and I finally found myself in the field of science. Therefore, I have accomplished many achievements in terms of, science, mathematics, and innovation. So about the scholarship, actually, there's a story behind it. I never wanted to be a chemical engineer, but due to the pandemic, I had to change my track. My first choice was being a nuclear engineer, and I had a scholarship in Japan in Tokyo University. But sadly, I had to shift and rearrange everything. But gladly, I am in the best engineering universities in the region, actually. And I would really like to develop the invention that you mentioned earlier, which is a nuclear car engine. I was one of the leading teams in the Nuclear for Development program, which is the first nuclear competition in the region. And luckily for me and the team, we had won the first place, and we had to propose our idea in the IAEA platform, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency. It was such an honor for all of us, and therefore that was the reason why I have, tried to push myself more, because everything happened. I felt like, STEM is the right place for me, is the right track that I really want to pursue for the rest of my life, that will really enhance me as for my career path and my personality in general. Yeah.
And like from what you just said right now, I could see how passionate you really are about it and how determined you are to, to take this passion to the next level. And you're doing things that, could help not only the community, but, like to further advance as a developer as well. So you mentioned about your invention. Would you like to talk about how you got started with that and what led you to
There's
invent
actually
that?
there's actually a funny story behind it. I was scrolling down on Instagram at first, and there's when I saw the advertisement. It says, you know what, come and join this program. You win a trip to Vienna. I never thought I would do that. So I just called my physics teacher. I called all my friends, like, would you like to join in? And they was like, yeah, let's hop in. And we just sat down. I was like, you know what, let's think of something crazy. Let's just make a car engine. Everyone was like,
Yeah.
no, that's too dangerous. So we had at first, from sketch, we had the idea of actually putting a nuclear reactor in the car. But later on, it has been developed to be just a tiny capsule in a car that is totally safe and safer than the actual traditional method into providing energy. And therefore, we have, oh, by the way, our group name was Radiation Geeks, and that was like
Oh,
the first thing.
it is cool.
We were like we were, crashing every platform, and like we nailed it. It was really great, and I believe that was because of our passion. Me and my teammates are really, really, really amazing. Um, so yeah, basically, in the finalist stage, we went to Barakem, which is the biggest
Mhm.
nuclear reactor station in the region, and I fell in love with that place. I don't know. I heard many stories about, how horrific it is, how terrible to be there. But loved it, and I loved everything: the commitment, the discipline, the life there. It was ironically friendly. so so yeah, a couple of days later, we had to present our idea in Khalifa
Mhm.
University, and this is when I actually introduced myself into the community of Khalifa. And I never had in mind I will stay here for my bachelor degree. Actually, it was last year, and I never thought of actually pursuing my degree in the UAE actually. So we presented in front of many distinguished judges,
Mhm.
and we won. And we went to
Great.
Vienna. And as I said earlier, we presented our idea in front of many ministers, and yeah,
Mhm.
that was the greatest accomplishment me and my team had for the past 4 years. And
Wow, that's
after,
amazing.
yeah, and after that, there were many offers presented to me and my teammates. As you mentioned, it was a trip for me in the Silicon Valley. I had the scholarship from Sanduq Al Watan, which is a loan that provide talented people, academically talented people with the equipment to pursue and to enhance their academic,
Yeah.
yeah. So after that, I went to the Silicon Valley, specifically in Stanford University, and it was my first time in the U.S. and it was a great experience. I loved the multiculturalism there and everything, and that was really, really, really a boost for me as a
Mhm.
person and for myself to actually look higher, to pursue higher things that I can't really reach. I have to, push myself more, and
Yeah.
that is I'm using for my next years. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. And that's like amazing achievements and accomplishments that you've had just within the 4 years, I believe, right? You mentioned?
Yeah.
So I mean, it must have been overwhelming at first, to like you said, you had to present in front of these distinguished judges and lots of important people as well. So, you really had to push yourself, you really had to impress, and you really had to kind of put your idea forward as something that could, prove to be
Yeah.
a good thing for your community. So, what I want to ask you next is, how did you overcome that? Like obviously we have like a bit of nervousness in the beginning. How did you overcome that?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't really sure about actually
Mm-hmm.
stepping into the semi. That actually showcased how insecure I was, and that is a thing that I was suffering, 7 to 8 years ago. Like
Hmm.
it was eating me. I was trying to fit into many groups, but unfortunately I couldn't. And that was a thing that left me traumatized. And therefore, that was actually the main reason for me stepping into STEM and,
Hmm.
science field in general, because I really couldn't find myself among many common communities. I couldn't. I tried to, but it just left me broken and depressed. So that's why I just found an asylum in the science field, and it just helped boost my mentality more, my
Hmm.
person. I keep on repeating how it affected and it boosted my personality, and it's just something I'm gladly to do, and I'm gladly to have this mentality. And I really recommend everyone to actually have a glimpse of what's how science can affect us as people, how it can
Hmm.
uh,
Right.
yeah, it can just open new horizons. It can open your eyes and make you see many things that can make you more. It can make you empathize who you are and your surroundings.
Okay, beautiful. And I'm glad that, you found yourself in this field, especially. It really, helped you grow and you understand yourself more. And I think that's what life is really all about, especially since we're still young. We've got lots of things to try. We've got lots of things, to figure out about ourselves and about what we want to do, really. And yeah, I mean, like you said, for you, you didn't feel like you fit in with, the other communities, but so you came into STEM, you came into science, and you found yourself, and you found something that you wanted to do, which is great. And like, like you mentioned again, for everybody else as well, um, it takes time, maybe a longer time for others to realize what they want, but we're at the end of the day, we're still going to be doing what we are going to be happy with doing. So, and that is what is most important, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And because I'm a STEM student, I would like to say that
Hmm.
time is relative, and every person has its own time frame, so you really don't have to worry about whether that person is making more
Hmm.
progress than you. You just need to find yourself work, because at the end you are racing your old self, you are racing your own things that leaves you caged among different negative things. So it's between you and your negative thoughts. This is the true race.
Right. Wonderful. So just to go ahead with the next question I have for you, I think we talked about earlier also that you were a winner of the Nuclear Science for Development, which is actually the only competition in the UAE for students in that particular field track. Is that right?
Yeah, and they're in the region actually.
In the region as well. Oh, wow. So how has your experience with that, and how have you been taking it forward?
Okay, so it actually boosted my. As I mentioned earlier, I had a problem with my insecurity and how I wasn't really confident about showing my ideas, proposing my ideas and thoughts in front of other peers. And because of that competition or that specific occasion, I was able to just show myself more, stand more, even if my thoughts were really bizarre. I wouldn't care as much as I you know, would like to show myself more, because I know and I have understood that everyone is different. and that actually affected me mentally more than academically. And it's actually a proportional equation, really. You just the more the higher chance of showing yourself is actually really is lowering your insecurities, even if you have to fake it, even if you had to even if we all know that backstage we just freak out and get minor panic attacks. And that is what happened to me. So the more you show yourself, the more you talk about yourself, you just realize that I am different, and that is okay, and that will eventually decrease your mental issues that you have.
Right. Again, wonderful advice. And, these are so meaningful words for especially our youth community. And I'll take up on the advice as well. I wouldn't say I'm the most confident person. Um, so yeah, I think it's all about, trying out and just, forgetting about whatever the world thinks about you, but focusing on really what you want, what makes you happy, and understanding that you are different, like you said just now. So that's really wonderful, No?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so you've also made it as a finalist in the Tatawwar program. We mentioned that in the beginning. Would you like to tell us about it and basically what you took away most from your experience?
Yeah, so I never really thought that I would pass the semi-finalist program or semi-final stage. But let me just say that being into the workshop that we had and developing my nuclear car engine into a real life prototype was like having a baby. It was really amazing. It was really amazing to see the idea, the sketch that we had is now being developed into a wooden and glue prototype, which was really more than amazing. And I was able to showcase it in front of other distinguished judges. And I still remember their faces when I finished, my entire presentation. Everyone drooped their mouth and everyone was speechless. It was like, is it because my idea was too weird? But I never thought of it. I was like, whoa, I made an accomplishment. And it was really, really, really amazing. Even though I was completely nervous because I was having a hard day back then. Everything didn't work well. Like, while prototyping, while presenting, the mic didn't work very well. I had some pronunciation mistakes and all of that, but still I made it to the finalists, and that was really amazing. And as I said earlier, you just have to fake it until it works out.
Yeah.
So sadly, I was really, really hoping that I would go with you guys to Amman, but sadly it was a webinars instead of the seminars. But instead, I had some really good time learning about different aspects of presenting my idea, all about body language and all of that. I never thought I would, actually use that, and that really helped
And it's
me in
actually
terms of
Yeah, and it's actually also a challenge for us, like because we've both made it to the finals, presenting our idea and pitching our idea in front of the judges, especially through, like virtually. That was a bit of a challenge, but I mean, we did really well. And I hope that this has taught us more, and this challenge has brought us more confidence in ourselves to, to take on more, challenges in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the biggest accomplishment I've made this year is actually being able to adapt the new normal, the outbreak pandemic, and we we were able to do all of that when there was a pandemic, and that is
Yeah.
some really like I need to give it a clap. Really, it's really amazing, and I'm really proud of me, of you, and from everyone who was in the Tatawwar program.
Yeah, and we also have to be a bit grateful to, like our mentors of the tutorial
Yeah,
program. They've helped us all the way and,
yeah,
brought our ideas to life kind of
and
and guided us.
for making an amazing virtual platform that taught us many things that we never thought that we would actually get get to know in this age.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the best thing about the Tatawwar program. You don't really need to, have a kind of like a full knowledge of, what you're going to do. You can just learn about it through the process, and it's not only like learning but bringing your ideas to life as well. And I think that's the best part, because it's an innovative program that we're dealing with innovation, and also with sustainability. I think that's a very important thing to do
That
nowadays. Hmm.
that's what I really feel amazed by. The platform, it's self-paced
Yeah,
competition. We just learn while we, pursue our goal, and that's really amazing. And I really love these kind of competitions. Really, I think it just helps us to become better innovators, better, or to have better mentalities, and that's really amazing.
exactly. I agree with you on that. So yeah. So right now we were talking about the pandemic, and obviously there times have been tough for most of us, of course, and we all have that moment, in life that we when we feel like giving up. But then there's some of us that do, and some of us that don't or won't accept defeat. And I'm sure it's happened for you a couple of times. It surely happened with me. Um, and I have to say, you are not one to give up. And so my next question would be, how do you usually cope with stress or pressure, and, keep moving forward with a positive mentality?
Well, actually, I'm a very traditional person, so actually, the things that I'm about to say is no, it's not something new or
Hmm.
extraordinary. I was able at first to accept my feelings, and that is something that everyone should do, is by accepting their feelings and the
Hmm.
negative that they have, and to not fake positivity, because the more that you resist the
Right.
fact you are, hurt or broken, the more it will hurt you. So number rule number one is to actually never, never, never fake positivity. If you just feel off, if you just feel like, oh man, I'm not feeling very well today, just
Yeah.
get out to a place that will make you comfortable. And what I like to do is actually go into my room. My room is my favorite place, actually.
Yeah.
I just listen to music. I just listen to hard rock music, Michael Jackson music, 80s music. That
Ooh.
really and I really never thought that I would actually like this genre specifically. So I just, get myself something to eat, ice cream, and just listen to music, and that really helps. Like it helped
Yeah. It's kind of
because
like your me time.
yeah, and it's not about the thing that I'm doing is about accepting myself,
Hmm.
that I am a human being. I I have the tendency to um sometimes don't feel very well, and that is okay. I once thought that successful people should always feel positive, should always
Hmm.
feel but it's okay. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing anything. Sometimes your room can be messy, and that is okay. You just need to give it a break and just
Yeah.
focus on yourself more, and that will boost your mood, that will boost your mentality more. And that is something like I would really like to highlight, that it is okay not to be perfect, it is okay not to have,
Exactly.
and do not never, never, never compare your life to the lives of others, because I personally used to do that, and that's really harmful, that's really toxic. And this is my way to cope, actually, is just by listening to my inner voice,
I
to
see.
accept that
Yeah.
no, I'm sad, I am not feeling very well, let me just listen to Michael Jackson music, and that's it.
Wow, that's really cool that you listen to his songs. And also you mentioned something really important, and that is to realize or to accept that it's fine or it's okay to not be okay. I think that has been kind of forgotten by most people. They think, they always have to work harder, they always have to, put pressure on themselves. But at the end of the day, you can't really accomplish anything if you're hurting yourself. mentally or physically. So it's important to have, some time to clear off your mind and, start over sometimes and go back to being positive, and I think like right there when you said that most successful people should not always be positive. I think, but like just by accepting that you don't always have to be could in a way make you have a positive mindset. That's just you accepting that's how life is, and that's you trying to, like go over these obstacles basically.
And something I didn't say earlier is that every being has its own energy capacity, and I have experienced it. Like if you were feeling negative, or you were feeling something like how can I explain it? You were feeling a way that you're not feeling very well, or just not feeling, that made me speechless. You just not
It's
feeling
fine.
very well. You just don't have to push yourself. You don't have to force yourself into being
Hmm.
productive. So
Right.
if you do that, you will drain your energy. So I have
Yeah,
done that previously, and it drained my energy, and I really
exactly.
regret doing. So you should, notice your energy capacity and where to spend it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's another good point. So moving on, I think to the last question I have for you. No, it's actually the second last question I have for you. So I know that the UAE focuses a lot on empowering youth, and it's even the same here in Bahrain, and their efforts are driven to its best to support and encourage us. What do you think about this, and what more could be done if you think so, in your opinion?
Okay. So first, I would like to say that I'm really blessed to live in the most, interactive country that really interacts and listen to youth, and actually take opinions from them and really transform it into reality. I'm really blessed and honored to be an Emirati. We have the youngest youth minister in the world, and that is something I'm really proud of. It just shows that there's no age, but youth can actually impact the society in a great way we never thought that it would be. And that's really amazing because, we should, or all countries, all governments should actually invest in youth, and mentally, in a mental way. We should actually impact the youth in ways that it can benefit in many aspects, and that is
Right.
something that the UAE is doing right now, and it actually makes youth interact more with government and modern challenges.
I see. That's wonderful, and I'm really glad to hear that from you. That your country and and people are also part of this, and they're willing to do something. And I think even in the whole MENA region, we're really trying to push the youth to come up there. We have a platform. We have this. We're doing this. We're allowing you to to give your opinion and to just share your mind with everybody else. And to feel included. And that is something that especially us youth need to understand that we're actually having the opportunity to be involved and to to take action as well, so why not push ourselves to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
So my last question now for you would be, what is your advice for the youth community?
Okay, so I would really, really like to recommend that you should invest more into your mental health. That
Mm-hmm.
comes first, before that is a priority before anything else. You should, as I said, you have a limited energy. Physically,
Yeah.
actually, you need to know where to spend your time, where to spend your energy. So your top priority should be your mental health. And if you invest in your mental health and was able to uh, become, or have a more positive mindset, you will succeed in every aspect in life, because what matters the
Right.
most is that everything that is happening to all of us is not constant. It will change by time. So we need to know to have a really positive mindset. We really need to have really flexible and adaptive mindset. There's actually a question that was asked by a Miss World from 2000 in the beauty competition, and it was allow me to rephrase that because I really can't remember it, which is
Okay,
which
go
was
ahead.
if we seek knowledge, if ignorance was a bliss, then why do we seek knowledge? And that is something that really hits me hard. Some of us really want to know more, want to or have the urge to know more and have the hunger of knowledge, but
Yeah.
we can't. We sometimes we just reach to a point where our mind doesn't handle everything, and that is because we really don't focus on our emotional side or on our mental side. So in order to reach wisdom, to reach a mindset that can be adaptive and flexible, is by uniting both mental and emotional support, and that is something
Right.
that I really recommend youth to have.
Great. Brilliant words again, and advice. Wow, I hope our youth is going to be happy to hear that from you. I'm definitely sure that they will. And that just shows a lot, about what is really important. At the end of the day, we need to focus on our emotional health as well, and not just continuously doing things, continuously having efforts being done, but like we don't care about ourselves. That's just wrong. I'm really
Yeah,
glad you mentioned that.
yeah, exactly. That is like number one priority, and that is something that people
Definitely.
like as a clear path
Definitely.
to pursue.
Definitely. I agree with you on that. Thank you so much, Noof, for
Thanks
having
for,
this talk with me today. And
thanks for the great interview. I had so much fun actually expressing my
I did
thoughts,
too.
so it was really
hmm
amazing for the opportunity.
I'm really glad you enjoyed. I did too. I had a wonderful time with you, and we talked about so many different things that that needs to be talked about, and kind of put these topics on the youth's mind, especially with the emotional and mental health. I mean, so great. I'm really happy to have you here, and can't wait for this episode to be launched.
Thanks,
Thank
me
you.
too. I would be really excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.